Then I got out of the Army. Well, I went to work running a bulldozer in the woods. So you ask about that. And for $1.25 an hour. And I was working with Kenny Stillwell and Wayne Martin. And I had a cat with no covering on it at all, and no unit behind.
Now, back in those days, $1.25 was a pretty good amount of money, wasn't it?
Well, it really wasn't good then, but it was a job that I thought my father wanted me to stay on the ranch, and he'd give me so much money a year, but I decided that I was too ambitious. I told him I had to go on my own. I did, and I worked that job for my first payday, while the man that I was working for gave me a 2-bit an hour raise because he seen I could do what I was supposed to do. And we were getting logs out, and we were the first ones in that area where I'm living to ship any logs. There was never none shipped before we shipped them. We had a tripod, and we had a block in there and a cable, and we'd go down and I'd pull a log in there, and we'd put the straps on the end of the log, and I'd raise it up with the bulldozer and then truck it back in there to set the log down on the truck. Well, that was the most awful way of doing it. Then he'd have to pull out with that log, and I'd bring another one in, and this was the first one that ever went out of that Zenia whirl. And when we got him loaded and out of there, I've thought many times that the only thing that we did that was right, we had the truck pointed in the right direction when he left. And that's all we did right. Then he ended up, see, with just two logs up there, two of them tied together, and a brow log, and the truck pull in there, and you'd pull the log up with the cat, and it'd slip right over the brow log and right onto the truck.
And where is Zenia?
Zenia is east of Garberville. Do you know where Garberville is? It's about 40 miles east of Garberville. But 1946 is when all this thing started taking place, the logging industry. And timber at that time was worth only 50 cents a thousand. And there was ranches that gave that timber away by the tens of millions of feet. And me trying to tell them to not do that because I knew that it was going to go up. And I also knew that if my goal was, I had 2 children then, and there was soon to be 2 more, and I wanted to save my money so I could buy land. My ex-wife was not in favor of this really, but she helped me, certainly. And I worked for almost 3 years running a bulldozer, and I was getting $70.75 an hour in the later part of the first year that I worked. But anyway, I quit that. I could only make $4,500 a year, and I worked awful hard to do that. Running a bulldozer is not easy work, logging, and I built roads. I built 17 miles of road for that outfit, and I engineered them and I built them. But anyway, I went to work falling timber, and I got where I could make $9,500 a year. That's what we'd take in. And of course, we had 2 of us working. Wayne Martin was falling timber with me, and we were good at it, and we made money, and I saved $15,000, and I bought a new pickup in San Francisco for $2,050 out the door, a Studebaker 3/4 ton pickup. And out of that $15,000, and then I bought in 1954. Why, I bought 492 acres where I'm living right today for $10,000 cash, which was a lot of money then. You had to save every nickel you made, and so life has been absolutely wonderful to me, I'll tell you. So I don't know, I've been buying real estate ever since, and I've given away thousands of acres of land that I've bought, and I've still got between my ex-wife and I over 3,000 acres. So I'm not bragging, I'm just stating these facts, and I don't know what, my son's probably tired of hearing about it. This is another son Oren sitting right here. But
I'm just listening.
he used to work with me running a bulldozer, and he was setting chokers for me. And I'll tell you what, it was not easy work that he was doing.
Well, I can add a little to Andy's cat skin in there. I think truth in saying that he's the most efficient road builder that I ever saw. There's no wasted time in his work. Every move accomplished something.
Well,
Am I right?
well, I used to be working on this job, and I'd be just tired of it, just pushing dirt. And anybody come along, I'd ask them if there was any way that they could see that I could do it quicker, because I just didn't want to do it no more. And there wasn't one of them ever told me what I was doing wrong. So I guess that was counted, Andrew, just what you're saying. It was, but I worked these boys. I had 4 boys, 4 of them worked for me in the woods. And they'll never forget the experiences. He was setting chokers for me, and we had 5-stick chokers, and they'd use them, and they get barbs on them. Some of the cables break, see, and they just get to where they're terrible. They rip your hands open, and I mean, they're awful. And one morning we went to work, and I had 5 brand new chokers for Orrin. And he says, Dad, he looked at them. He says, I can't use them. He said, he was just making fun of me. That was he said, Dad, I can't use them. I'll never forget that one. It was so funny. But we did use them.
This is who he's talking about.
Yeah, right there. You bet. He worked with me for years and all kinds of jobs, and still is. And I mean, that's the truth.
Well, I know why he couldn't use your new choker. He figured that if you ruffle the lip, you'd never see another new one.
Maybe, Andrew. I don't know.
Like, I kind of got to where I knew those old Barbie was by name, you know, I kind of had there was my favorite.